Hello and welcome to the LOG series. LOG stands for League of the Genuine Series Conversations with Fred Muwema, who is drinking interesting things from a red cup. What's going on, Fred?
The show is about lubricants, so I'm drinking a lubricant for my body.
What's happening to your body? Why?
This is, there's some honey, some lemon, and
Ginger?
some ginger. Yes, so we also need lubricants,
We need lubricants.
For our bodies.
For sure, for
Yes.
sure. You sound like you are suffering. What's going on?
My
in you?
my voice got some issues, but thank God I'm able to be here and to be able to speak.
All right.
Yes.
Welcome to the show. Today we are talking lubricants. We are continuing our discussion on counterfeits in the petroleum sector. And last week, actually, the past 2 weeks, we've been dealing with fuel. And I hope that the information shared there has been helpful. Today we want to focus more on lubricants. Lubricants for, cars, for industries. We're going to talk all of that. But before we do, earlier on in the week, Fred, an MOU was signed between the Petroleum Authority and UNBS to basically ensure quality of equipment, service providers within the petroleum industry. Does that mean that counterfeits and fakes in the petroleum industry are going to be history because of this agreement?
Well, that agreement is talking about the production and distribution of oil that is yet to come out of the Albertine Graben, Hoima area.
Yeah.
It's not talking about the current fuels or fake lubricants that we taking
consume
now. So there is no cause for celebration with the current situation that we have. Please still have a lookout for the right station that you go to. Make sure you get the right fuels for your car. The MOU will not save you from the counterfeiters who are out there to make money and
off of your ignorance.
Yes. Yes.
All right, so speaking of producing oil, as Uganda, yes, we have been set to produce oil for a while now, and we are talking about lubricants today. Are we going to see Uganda produce her own lubricants?
The last time I checked, whatever oil production that we shall have here from Hoima does not include lubricants. I think we're going to have petrol, diesel, kerosene, and gas.
Okay.
The plant for blending and production of lubricants is not part of the deal.
It's not part of the deal.
That's what I remember. So most likely we're going to continue importing lubricants and oils from outside Uganda. So Hoima is not giving us those
lubricants.
Oils. Yeah.
Okay. Let's dive into this lubricant discussion. Oh, actually, before we do, last week as well on the show, we talked about a gentleman, I think he's called Rukundo, who purchased fuel from Oryx that happened to be fake fuel, adulterated fuel, and he sold it to his customers who almost lynched him because they had received fake fuel. Oryx issued a statement in response. They've also been doing a lot of work behind the scenes to investigate and, redress this issue. What are your comments on the statement?
Well, what I can report is that we've been having some engagements with Oryx. This is what we expected because Oryx is such a good brand, reputable company, been on the African continent for more than 30 years. Yeah. Usually excellent service. Okay, so their teams got in touch with our people, and I know that there was 1 or 2 meetings, and other meetings will be held to dig deep into the issue, what caused the problem, where are the gaps, who was at fault, who didn't do their job. That's a good sign that as a leading brand, they are showing leadership in taking responsibility for this issue. But we need to emphasize here, as a platform that is advocating for sale and purchase of genuine products, we shall not compromise on anything other than ensuring that the consumer, the Ugandans and the people out there are not cheated or do not lose money because of adulterated fuel and other products. So that is still work in progress. And the signs look good. It's possible that in the next couple of days, we should be able to report a resolution of this matter. But make no mistake, if it's not resolved, if we do not get to the bottom of this to know who was at fault, for us we shall continue to pursue it. But for now, that's the progress and it's looking good.
Okay. I think it's always a breath of fresh air when, you know, big companies take responsibility for their actions. There's a part of the statement I think that talks about, I don't want to get into the details, but maybe you could comment on the transport issue. So yes, they acknowledged that he bought the fuel from them, but the buyer insisted on using his own transport. Does that speak to?
Well, I do not want to prejudice
the conversation,
the matter, because I'm told it's still being investigated. But what we have had, the information we got, is that the transportation was actually procured by Oryx.
Oh, okay.
And I know from my experience dealing in this area that these big companies will not allow any type of truck or transport to just come to a depot and pick fuel. They usually use accredited transporters where the specifications of the truck and everything is checked to ensure that certain strict standards are met. So, but I think that the statement that was issued probably was an immediate knee-jerk reaction or something to explain. But I am hoping that end of the day, a final statement will be issued to clarify and settle
what happened,
that issue. I am hoping really that it is not escalated, because it will be bad for everybody. Nobody wins when there's an escalation. The consumer loses out. It means they have nowhere to run. They have no assurance that when there's an issue that will be attended to. The brand also wins, loses in terms of reputation, and yet customer is king and all those things. So for us, we think that if we can help to bring the brand and the consumer together, and then it's a victory for everyone.
Yeah. And for sure, a lesson to learn for for the big brands and consumers as well.
Yes.
And which is why we're having these conversations, that there are things you need to know before you purchase certain things. As you consume them, if you're ignorant or if you don't have the information, then you might fall victim.
Yes.
Yeah. So let's get into the discussion of lubricants. So we know lubricants for cars. You talked about taking a lubricant for your body.
Yeah.
What, or are lubricants only used in cars? Where else are lubricants used?
Okay, lubricants are used in any form of mechanization.
Yeah.
Be it a motor engine, be it a factory which has motors, be it construction equipment, all those things with pulleys and so on. So lubricants for the motor world are extremely important for the functioning of an automobile, because an automobile or an engine is made up of different parts and pieces of metal which keep moving in one direction or the other. So it's the lubricants which comprise of greases, the hydraulics, the engine oils that help these machines or these different parts not to have friction. They help to stop rusting, for example, because cars are made of metal. Or iron, which is very susceptible to rusting if it comes into contact with moisture. So lubricants are extremely, extremely important. That we have a conversation about fuel and lubricants means that we're having a 360 degrees conversation on the best way to use the inputs that run a motor vehicle. So I think everybody out there should pay a lot of attention to lubricants. I know many of you cannot drive a car which doesn't have fuel because it will not start, but many of you may think that you can drive for another mile or another week or another day, even when you have not replaced the lubricant or the engine oil. That is a misconception. It is like saying that if you have dirty water, you will clean it up by adding some clean water. Whenever you do a top-up, if your car is due for service and you decide to do a top-up on the engine oil,
as opposed to take it for service,
and you think you are actually helping the engine, it's like having dirty water and then you put clean water. Do you get clean water?
No.
So it's actually a waste.
Yeah.
So I think in this program we shall be saying that please treat the issue of the lubrication of your car
vehicle,
as take it as seriously as you take the issue of the fuels that the car needs.
Yeah.
They are equally, or if not as important as the fuels that we were talking about last week.
Okay. Are you able to speak to the importance of lubricants? So you talked about rust. Why else must anyone pay attention to, putting lubricants at the right time and the right kind of lubricants in the vehicle?
Lubricants, I'll speak specifically to one aspect. For example, a lubricant for the engine oil, for example, its importance is that it is used for a specific time. You will have different lubricants that are able to take you for, let's say, 1,000 kilometers.
Yeah.
That's the cheaper versions. Then you have the medium that can take you up to 5,000 kilometers, meaning you can drive for 5,000 kilometers. Then you have the premium grade lubricants, which can take you for 10,000. So why is it important that you must have a genuine lubricant? It's simple. If you go to the service bay and you service your oil, I mean your car, and the service bay attendant puts a service card around the steering wheel and says next service after 5,500 kilometers. If he does that, whereas he has put oil that will only take you for 1,000 kilometers, it means for the 4,000 kilometers you will be an accident waiting to happen. Yeah. You will basically be a candidate for an accident, an engine knock, and all those fatalities that we get on our road. So it is like a lease of life that you are giving to your car and to yourself every time that you put an engine oil in your car.
A genuine
and
engine
you
oil.
are reducing your lease of life for the car and for yourself if you are adept to putting the fake inside. So basically you're cheating yourself. So we want to point out that the lubricant, like I've already said, is extremely important and it's extremely essential. We hope this program will help you to understand which lubricant you're using, what are the different types of lubricants, where can we get the lubricants, so that you are able to use your vehicle. Now that's on the side of vehicles, but you mentioned the industries, yes, as well. As you know, the industries also have a lot of machines there that use different oils, and as a country we are aspiring to be an industrial nation. We need to have factories for this and that. We are not going to build this country as an industrial hub with fake industrial oils, with fake hydraulics. We are not going to do that. No. So lubricants are extremely important for your personal life and welfare, but they're also very important for the economy and the country as a whole, because they affect all sectors that are mechanized and that use fuel and oil.
Yeah.
Yes.
Talk to the premier owner, or somebody who owns a Toyota Raum. Maybe was purchased in 2009. They regularly take their car for servicing to the service bay area, but they don't really know, because most of us don't really know about oils, which one is good for my car. You've talked about grades, the one that is used for, it will take you say 5,000 kilometers. How do I know what is good for my car? where do I get this information from?
Okay, first of all, I think there are two centers of action that must come into play here. The first thing is you yourself. You need to take time to understand the car that you are driving. Which year was it manufactured? What kind of engine does it have? Most cars, even if they are second-hand, they would have a manual in there. In that manual, you will find information that will
We never read
inform
manuals.
you. Yeah, now you need to read.
We need to.
You need to check and see this kind of engine, what is the recommended
Oil.
lubricants that I should use. Okay, if there's no manual, many people have access to the internet now. Just go punch in the details of your car, Raum model 2009, what is the preferred engine oil I will use. So this is action you have to take personally. Okay, why is this important? Is because if you are going to rely entirely on the service bay attendant or your mechanic to recommend, remember, even some of these mechanics are not well informed. I'm sure you have seen some of them say, please use this oil, it's the latest, it's the best, this is the best grade. Now, you're not going to put an engine oil made for a car of 2017, 2018 model into a 2009.
Yeah.
It will not perform. So, but I think the other point of action that we need to be hearing is the brands. Please, as brands, don't stop at just pushing sales of your lubricants. Can you please also push information out, education out to the consumers to tell them about the different types of lubricants and the purpose for those different types and the suitability for these different types to which car, which model, because this information is not out there.
Yeah.
We are hoping that we could have an opportunity for the experts from the brands coming onto a program like this to explain to consumers or users of different cars and which is the right kind of product, because there is so much product out there in forms of lubricants and oils. There is too much.
Yeah.
As a country, we have more than 150 licensed importers. We exclusively import lubricants. We have more than 150 importers. These 150 importers, if each was importing 1 or 2 products, that could be 150 or 300 products. Just imagine how difficult it is if you went to a supermarket and there are 100 different types of
lubricants,
honey or Vaseline.
Yeah.
Is it easy to choose? It's very difficult.
Yeah.
So the brands need to understand that the consumer is confused. The consumer doesn't know, first of all, the suitable type of oil for their cars. The consumer is also confused by the fact that there are a lot of fakes, as we shall explain later. The fakes do not have a different name. If the lubricant that is faked is called X, even the fake will be called X. You know, they do a direct imitation. The branding is the same. The jerry cans or the containers where the lubes are sold, they're basically the same. So I think since the brands are here to serve the community, to serve the consumer, I think we need that the brands include in all their product promotions and advertisement an anti-counterfeit message that should help the consumer to differentiate between the genuine lubricant and the fake lubricant. They should also include information where to find the genuine
products, yes.
So that consumers are on the lookout to avoid those places where genuine products are not being sold.
Yeah, I think it's important that brands include this information in their advertising. So like you said, they shouldn't just push for sales. They need to show people where they can find genuine products. Let's talk a bit about the distribution. I want you to speak to that, but before we do, even as we take a quick break, our team did go out to see what the reality of distribution and supply of lubricants is in our city. And hopefully we have that video. We'll talk a bit about it after the break. Welcome back to this conversation. This Friday we are talking lubricants. Before we went for the break, we did say we are going to talk about supply and distribution. But before that, Fred, at the beginning of this show, you mentioned that you were consuming a lubricant for how you were feeling. There are other lubricants that we use even on our bodies, the lotions, the oils, oil for our hair. What are your thoughts on that?
We are talking about lubricants for machines
for
today,
machines,
but
yes.
definitely in our everyday life, we do a lot of lubricants, the shampoos in the hairs, the oils. I don't know if you put oil there.
Absolutely.
Those are all lubricants.
Yeah.
And when we shall come to the
that
area
subject
of personal care, cosmetics, we shall still have another chance to be talking about lubricants. But for now, we're dealing with lubricants of machines,
yes,
of equipment, of automobiles. And yes, I think it's worthy that we spend some considerable time discussing this, because most of the modern life is automated.
For sure.
Is mechanized. And we are getting harmed. We are losing our lives because of the inputs, the fake inputs, lubricants that are being used in these machines.
You've talked about fake lubricants. In the video, hopefully, that we have seen, we see a supply chain and distribution of lubricants that are not necessarily genuine. Talk to us about that vis-a-vis what should actually be happening.
Well, what you are seeing there is another reality that we have. On the one hand, you have got the legitimate distribution channel, production channel that we have, represented by many of the big brands that you see, Vivo, Total. But we also have a few unscrupulous people who, as you can see in the video, make it their business to, one, acquire the used oils. After you've serviced your car, do you ever ask where the oil that is injected and taken out of your car is put? I don't think you even got to claim for it. It's a reject. In actual fact, it is a raw material that many of these guys the type that you see in the video, are used to produce other lubricants or engine oils. In common speak, I would say they cook the oil, they cook it to take out the dirt, from the oil, and then they often mix it with some cheap oils, and important that they now put it in the jerry cans or the containers of the favorite brand that you are using. They'll put it, if it's for a petrol engine, they will try to put it in a Helix or a Rimla. These are the Shell products. Or they will try to put it in the Total products. Unfortunately, in Uganda, the most popular lubricants belong to the big guys.
And they're the ones that are faked the most.
I think Total is the market leader, followed by Shell. Total makes Quaz. I believe that's for the petrol engines, but it has different categorizations there: low grade, medium, and premium. It also makes what is the name? Not Rimla?
Rimla, yes.
Yeah, Rimla. No, Rubia. Rubia. That's for the diesel engines. But unfortunately, the counterfeiter targets these popular brands. And without the authorization of the brand owners, they go in those dingy places that you have seen and try to manufacture, imitate, and bring to the market.
Resell, yes.
This product, pretending that it's the genuine product.
One,
that the big companies that are putting high-grade lubricants wish to give you for your car. So they try to take advantage of the quality premium lubricants that these companies generally put on the market and exploit you, the consumer, by duping you that this actually works or is actually manufactured by the big brand, whereas it's not. So it is our intention to help you as a consumer understand that you must look out for your favorite brand from Total or Shell or any of these big companies, including Oryx, from their authorized distribution channel. I know these companies have service stations, they have dealers who are branded.
Yes.
You know, there are specific areas where they are selling these products. You are advised to go to those specific areas. Please don't go to some garage and some other place and somebody dupes you that this is Total
and
lubricant or Shell lubricant. No, it's unlikely, and I know for a fact, because I've done a lot of work here, that these big brands have a proper distribution channel, and they will not be selling their lubricants in places like those that you have seen in the video. So avoid, if you go there, the company is not the one that is producing that product, and it's very easily going to deny responsibility for any loss or damage, because they have showed where you should buy and why should you go somewhere else. But I think the companies need to do more here, because we all take it for granted that we know where to find these genuine products.
Not true.
I don't think we know completely where to find the genuine product, and I'll tell you why. You see, for example, many of the, like Oryx has a blending plant for its lubricants, Enduro, and the other one is Excella for the diesel. It's in Tanzania. So they produce it there and import it here through their channel of Oryx. But what is also true is that the plant for Oryx in Tanzania also sells to other dealers in Tanzania and other resellers in Tanzania. And it's possible that some of those dealers or resellers in Tanzania will also sell to some dealers and resellers here in Uganda outside the normal Oryx distribution channel. Same with the Total. Their blending plant for the region is in Kenya.
Yeah.
So we actually get all our Quaz and Rubia from Total Kenya. But within Kenya itself, you have some dealers. Total Kenya will sell to some dealers there in Kenya, and those dealers can also sell privately to us here.
Yes.
So the challenge is that there is also some distribution and sale of the genuine lubricants by the big companies from other places other than the gazetted service stations that we know.
Yeah.
So you might find, I'm sure you have seen, there are some dealers who they are not branded any particular brand, but they will have Shell products there, they will have Total products, they will have Castro oil, they'll have national oil from Dubai. So it's, in our view, it's very easy for those independent dealers who may be selling genuine products, maybe to also sell fake in there. Why? Because there isn't control. There isn't control that the big company will have on that independent dealer who imports independently or separately from Tanzania or Kenya and put it here. So that's why on this program we're saying that the place we are sure of at the moment where you can find the genuine lubricants is the gazetted branded places, yes, where this product is sold. Until the brand owners come out and tell us the other distribution channels or places where these products are sold, it's going to be difficult. It's a guess. If you go to any other unbranded places, you're not sure whether the product will be genuine.
So what I hear you saying is there definitely is counterfeiting in lubricants.
Definitely there is.
What are the factors that are driving counterfeit? So I think you've touched a bit on this, the different, the undefined distribution system, so to speak.
Yeah, it's one of the factors, but I will start by saying that it's a big problem. A person listening out there should know that we're dealing with a problem that has grown in the last 10 years, maybe by 50%. These big companies realized a bit too late that their market share was going down, and they were wondering why. Only to realize that there were some sales that were being conducted that they could not account for. And this was because of parallel importation or the dumping. So like I've explained, if a company imports 10 million liters of lubricants, and that is what should be going to the Ugandan market, but then you also have other dealers bringing 2, 3, 4 million liters within the market, that definitely affects the sales for the company. So it's a big problem. It is growing. Why is it growing? Because every person who leaves school as a sign of affluence, they want a car.
Yes.
We're having more and more cars.
More cars.
And not just one car. People have 2 cars, 3 cars. Companies are also opening up businesses. They need cars. So the demand for lubricants will only go up. Unfortunately, the demand for fake lubricants will also go up. So it's a very big problem. And the factors that cause the growth of this business, illicit business, some of them are internal, others are external. The internal problems, for example, the disposal, like I explained, of the used engine oil is poor. I know the big companies, again, Total, Shell, have put their best foot forward to contract a private company, Epsilon, to carry away all the used oils from their stations so that it is disposed of in accordance with the law, in a proper way, so that the counterfeiter does not get this used oil and repackage it and sell it to you as another product. But that is limited in effectiveness. A lot of the other used oils do not get disposed of in the way that the big companies are doing. A lot of the other used oils are actually officially sold off to the counterfeiters who in open sight take and go to such places and repackage them. So that's a big problem, disposal. And even with the, I don't know if as a consumer, I can insist, maybe I go with a drum after the servicing.
Where do you
and
dispose
I say, give
of
me
it?
my
oil.
My used oil. Maybe we should start that. We should
Where
start
would
a
you
business
dispose
where
of it?
we keep the used oil and then we sell it to these guys to dispose it off. But the other reason is the disposal of the jerry cans or the containers where the genuine used oils are sold from is also poor. I don't think many people viewing or listening ever care to ask for the empty 4 liter. You just done a full service. I don't know whether you ever ask for the empty, and if you don't ask, I don't know whether you care to know where that empty ever goes. In fact, if you followed up, you will find that those empties are collected by the staff at the stations and they are actually sold. If you secretly follow, you will see that there is a truck or some pickup will come in the evenings once they are collected, 100. Actually, I have seen some trucks moving in town with those empty jerry cans tied on the truck for the different companies, and it's moving. And the traffic police will stop that truck, check on the lights, the tires, but they will never ask
about the bottle.
What are you carrying? Because they don't see that empty as a possible sin of crime. It is actually a sin of crime because it is used to repackage fake oils that are later sold. Again, the big companies have shot the way. Total, Shell, they have hired companies to crush the containers. After you have used the oil, the container is placed under a machine and it's crushed. So there's no opportunity for this container being used again. But again, that is very limited. I don't know if you have ever seen a crusher at any of the stations you go to. The other problem also is that there's abuse. Whereas the crusher is there for the containers, some unethical staff at the stations do not take the containers there. They instead keep them away. So at some stations you have the machines there, but they are not doing their job.
They're not used.
They are not crushing. So these are some of the factors that are complicating the fight against the fake lubricants. And we think that if you as the consumer, if you as the brand get to know that this is what is causing the problem, I think collectively we can then have more action being taken to ensure that this important product that we use is not faked and counterfeited to the detriment of the citizens.
And we will talk about the detriment of fake oils in a short while. But I want to ask, what are the effects? So maybe before we talk about the effects, the price, would you say price is a factor in, you know, the counterfeiting of lubricants? So if the lubricant is cheaply priced, or does that mean that it could be fake?
Well, price is a big factor in this part of the world, the poorer part of the world. Why? Because we like a bargain, we like to get more for less. And even I think the way the promotions are done by the brands, by the companies, the way they compete, they try to use price as a big factor to show that they are good to you as a consumer. So in our mindset, there is that thing planted that when something is cheaper, it means the person selling it is good to you. But for the case of counterfeits, I need to tell you that when the price of the lubricant is cheaper, the guy selling it is actually not being good to you. he's just going to cause trouble. And therefore, the issue of price, whereas I should state that, again, the price of lubricants in Uganda is a bit higher than elsewhere.
Yes.
The average price difference between the genuine high-grade lubricants sold by the big companies is about 3,000 to 5,000 shillings, and that's a big amount, you know. So, and because of the market being open, you know, we don't have a lot of limitations on the importation of lubricants.
Yeah.
You have, for example, a common but good grade oil called national oil. It's from Dubai. It comes here on the market and gives a bloody nose to Total or Shell or Oryx because it's selling cheaper and yet it's imported, just like the other oils.
Yeah.
So, and many times because it's selling cheaper and it's good grade, it is also used as a base for the guys who are faking. So they get the used oil and then they put in a little bit of national oil and give you something which looks more like the genuine
thing, yes.
But whereas it is not. So I think price is always going to be an issue. But please, we're urging all of you out there, do not be motivated to buy a lubricant just because of the price. I think you should be motivated by quality. Yeah. Quality, and where do you find the quality? First and foremost, go to the designated distributor. We would advise for now, until we know where the other unbranded distributors are, who are genuine, go to the branded distributor for your favorite brand and buy the product there.
Yeah. As we come to the close of this discussion, I think that sometimes when someone is warning you about something, you may not pay attention with all of these other things that we've talked about. But if you explain what the effects are of fake lubricants or, you know, counterfeit lubricants on, say, your car or on you as a person or on our economy, maybe they might stop and pay attention. So talk to us about the effects of...
Okay, what you... I know in our introduction on the League of Genuine Conversations, we introduced Dankani, which is representative of the factors that push the consumption, use of counterfeits. There is a letter N there which speaks to negligence. And I know in the introduction we said brand owners are negligent, but even with the consumers are negligent. So negligence is a big outcome in terms of effect of counterfeits. How? For example, among the lubricant oils that are used and which need to be genuine for your car to perform well so you don't suffer effects is brake fluid lubricant.
Yeah.
If you take fake brake fluid, you might say, so what? So what? You might die.
Yeah.
Actually, many people do die.
Yeah.
We lose more than 3,000 people every year to motor accidents. And when you turn on the TV, you'll see some police officer saying the cause of the accident was that the bus or the trailer or the car failed to stop.
Yes.
And they will show you the skids on the, and the marks of the tires.
Yeah.
That is a function of brake fluid.
Yeah.
Because brake fluid helps the proper functioning of the braking system of the car. I may not go into a lot of details. So if you are out there and saying, I am not concerned, so what? I don't care about lubricants in the motor industry. But you care about the people that you lose, the people that get injured, the money that you spend treating loved ones because of motor accidents. So you must be concerned about the fluids or the lubricants that you're using. We have other lubricants like the hydraulic oil that is used. I don't know if you've ever seen any car that drives without a gear system.
No.
Okay, they are the automatic ones you don't need to change, but they all have a gearbox.
Yes.
So you think the gearbox uses petrol or diesel?
Nope.
The gearbox uses hydraulic.
Yeah.
Now, hydraulic can also be faked. if the hydraulic is faked, the gear system is not going to work well,
which endangers you.
The rest is history.
Yeah.
So it will endanger you and your family as you're driving your car, because the car will not. You've ever seen that situation of the gear has failed to move? So basically, we need to say that the lubricants, the fake lubricants in the motor industry is a big topic.
Huge.
It's a big issue, as big as the fuel. We need to pay attention to it, and I think if time allows, we should have more discussion in this area, because we think the lack of awareness in respect of lubricants is even worse than fuels, because most people look at lubricants as an accessory, like it's not the main thing. Like fuel, but lubricants, we are here to tell you, it's actually the main thing. It's a big deal as much as fuel is.
It actually probably speaks to concealed danger as one of the factors in Dankani, that because you are running out of fuel, the car will stop.
Yes.
But with lubricants,
you'll continue.
Yes, you'll keep going.
So you may think it's not as important.
Yes,
and before you know it, you have an engine knock a few months down the road.
There's no telling how that will end, and we don't want you to lose your life because you haven't paid attention to counterfeits in lubricants. So there's so much information, and would like to keep this going. This is just a starter. Let us know in the comments if this has been helpful. If you have a question, do share with us, and we'll be able to answer it right here on the show. That has been this week's episode of the League of the Genuine series, Conversations with Fred Muwema from the Anti-Counterfeit Network Africa. Until next Friday, enjoy your weekend. Thanks for watching.